Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So a few months ago, I made a video talking about my top 10 favorite romantic tropes in fiction. Books, movies, TV, any kind of fictional medium, what kind of romantic tropes do I personally like? Since it is now Valentine's Day, a time of love, I decided to make a sequel to that video talking about my top 10 least favorite romantic tropes in fiction. I don't know if all of these are exactly tropes, but they're just things that I have noticed in romantic storylines that I personally just really do not like. So let's get right into it, and after you watch this video, definitely let me know your most hated romantic trope in the comment section down below. Now, number one on my list of my least favorite romantic tropes has to be Insta Love. I said in my favorite tropes video that I love a slow burn, and so on the opposite side, I really hate Insta Love. Personally, I think I need a fictional relationship to be a bit of a slow burn for me to actually buy into it, because if it's a case where two characters meet each other and they are instantly attracted to each other, to me it just doesn't feel realistic and the coming together of the characters doesn't feel earned. Obviously, you can meet a person who you are physically attracted to, and there are stories you hear of people saying, oh, well, I knew the first time I met my wife that she was the one I was going to marry, and we've been married for 50 years, whatever. However, I feel like that's an exception, and I think fictional relationships are much more satisfying when there is a lot of emotional buildup to the eventual romantic coming together moment. I think you really need to establish why it is that these two characters would be good together and how the two of them are able to make each other's lives better, how they're able to make each other better people, and to also fill a certain need in each other's lives. I heard people discuss how when you're writing romance, you need to think about the character's psychological need. What is the thing that they need in their life that this relationship is able to give them? And with Insta Love, you just don't get any of that. Now, number two on my list, another trope that I think pretty much everybody hates is a love triangle. Now, listen, I'm not like the biggest love triangle hater, because obviously if you are trying to do a slow burn, you need to have obstacles standing in the character's way to make the slow burn effective, and introducing a rival love interest is a tried and true way to do that. When I say I hate love triangles, what I specifically hate is when you have a long, drawn-out love triangle where one character is flip-flopping between two other people for multiple books or seasons. That, to me, just gets really, really old. I don't know about you, but I've never met someone who has spent years of their life trying to decide between two handsome, perfect-seeming love interests, and they just don't know what to do because they love them both. Like, it just gets really annoying when a character can't make a decision for such a long period of time, and that's really what I mean when I'm saying I hate a love triangle. It's one thing to introduce a rival love interest and then, you know, have that resolve within maybe a season of a TV show or so. But if it's just a constant back and forth for many years, multiple books, that's when I really get tired of it, and it just gets frustrating to me that the character torn between the two love interests can't make a decision. I just looked at my computer and for some reason Siri thought that I was talking to her, and so she just took note of everything I said. I was not speaking to her. Number three, on-again, off-again relationships. So something that frustrates me is when writers think that their story will be boring if the characters get together. I totally disagree with this, and I think it would be interesting to see, you know, your ship be together and have to weather challenges as a couple, but what so many writers do instead is have their two main characters break up and make up a million times, and that to me is very frustrating. I think conflict resolution is a really important part in a relationship, and if your two main characters just constantly break up every time things get hard, how am I, as the reader or the viewer, supposed to have faith in their ability to make a relationship work? I mean, how many of you have ever watched one of those CW teen dramas like Gossip Girl or like Pretty Little Liars on ABC Family, and all of the main couples on those shows get together and break up like 6 times, and then finally in the series finale they get back together and we're supposed to believe it's forever this time, even though they literally have had the rockiest relationship known to man? I'm not trying to like say those shows are bad or that you shouldn't like them. I loved shows like that when I was a teenager. I still have fond memories of them, but that's just kind of the phenomenon I'm talking about, where you have these two fictional characters and every time something happens, they just have to break up. How are you supposed to trust that they can actually have a healthy relationship when the fictional medium has never shown them having any ability to resolve conflict? I think it would be nice to just actually be able to see two fictional people have a relationship where they work through issues together and learn to compromise and hear each other out, instead of just breaking up every time something goes wrong. A lot of writers say, well, of course the two characters can't be together because then it won't be interesting. To which I say, no, I totally disagree. And you know, you can give the characters problems to deal with outside of their relationship for a change. So the next trope I want to talk about is one that I am calling the other man / woman is terrible. Again, I have some caveats with this one. So, like I said, introducing a rival love interest is a very common way to delay the main couple in a work of media from being together. You see it time and time again. It's a tried and true classic. I personally prefer it if the other man / woman is actually like a really decent person and the main character just chooses to be with their main love interest instead because they love that person more. So like, for example, say you're watching a show or you're reading a series of books and character A and character B are the main couple you're supposed to be rooting for in this story. Character C comes in and makes a romantic move on character A. I would rather see character A maybe fall for character C a little bit, create some conflict there, but ultimately have character A say to character C, listen, you are a great person, but I know in my heart that character B is the one that I love. Or even have character C say to character A, I love you, but I know that character B is the one you really love, and because I love you, I want you to be happy, even if it's not with me. I think that is just so much more interesting. When this trope really, really bothers me and when I hate it the most, let's say, you know, character C comes onto the scene to stand between character A and character B, and character A actively chooses character C over character B, but then after character A has chosen character C instead, we find out this secret about character C that reveals they're actually a terrible person, therefore character A goes back to character B. I hate this scenario because that means that character A would have chosen character C had they not been revealed to be a terrible person in the 11th hour. And how is that supposed to be satisfying when, like, character A and character B are supposed to be the main ship, but I now know that character A would have chosen someone else? This is the scenario where I particularly hate this trope. I think you see this done so often because writers are scared, well, if I introduce a nice, normal person as the new love interest, people might ship that instead of the main ship of my story. And I understand that, but I think it's just a little bit overdone at this point. And so I would like to see the new character actually be a really great, understanding person who wants their love interest to be happy. I think that would be a nice change. Now, next on my list, I have miscommunication. This is one of my absolute least favorite tropes, possibly in any scenario or genre. Like I said, writers always think they need to keep their two main characters apart for the story to be interesting. I disagree with that, but something you often see used to foil the relationship is miscommunication. This, to me, as a viewer or reader, is so frustrating because romantic relationships need communication to be successful. This kind of just goes back to the on again, off again thing. If your characters are constantly suffering from miscommunication and they're breaking up over misunderstandings that could have so easily been avoided, how can I have any faith in their ability to have a healthy relationship if you've never shown me the two of them having healthy communication like two adults in a relationship should have? And for once, I would like to see a work of fiction display two characters being in a committed relationship where they are able to communicate with each other and weather obstacles as a unit. Is that too much to ask for? Ugh. Next on this list, I have a trope that I'm calling keeping it in the family, and this is a storyline where a character will date multiple members of the same family. This just gives me the ick. I see a lot of people on booktube talk about these taboo romances where the main heroine will like date her ex's father. And that just really disgusts me. Like, oh, you're gonna like sleep with multiple members of the same family? Isn't that weird? Like, you're gonna date this guy, break up with him, and then become his stepmother? That's weird. You're gonna look at your ex across the table every Thanksgiving and Christmas for the rest of your life? That's weird. I mean, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. If this is like your favorite trope, I mean, you do you, I guess. But me personally, it gives me the ick, okay? I do not like this. And I feel like you do also kind of see this on those very long-running drama shows where the dating patterns just get very kind of incestuous. Not literally incestuous, but you know, a drama show goes on long enough. Pretty much every character has dated every other character. You know, sometimes like, you know, you rewatch Grey's Anatomy or something and you're like, oh my god, I forget that these two characters used to be a couple. That's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Or like take for instance One Tree Hill. I used to watch this show and I totally forgot that before Peyton dated and married Lucas, her high school boyfriend was his brother Nathan. So her ex is now her brother-in-law. This whole thing is just weird to me, you know, like, and I feel like once two people have been in an intimate romantic relationship, there's just this weirdness between them that you can never undo. And that's why this trope just gives me the ick. Next up, this is a pretty straightforward one, glorifying abuse. I am not a romance novel reader. However, I watch videos where people discuss them, and so many of these popular romance novels like Colleen Hoover and all of that really glorify abusive and possessive behavior and paint it as romantic. Like, oh my god, my boyfriend is so controlling and tells me what I'm allowed to do and what I'm allowed to wear because he loves me. Like, no sis, that's not normal. If your man is getting that upset about things like this, get a restraining order. This is not romantic, and we should not be teaching younger readers that this is what love is like, because love is not controlling. And I mean, God, think about things like 50 Shades of Grey, which claims to be about BDSM, but actually is not a healthy, consenting BDSM relationship. It's just abuse that is presenting itself as this when really it's just a toxic relationship. And then we also have things like Bridgerton, where one half of the main couple will violate the other person's consent and sexually assault them, literally sexually assault them, but it will be presented as not a big deal. And that just absolutely disgusts me. Like, again, it's okay if you're an adult and this is just your thing. Again, I'm not here to yuck your yum. However, I think it is wrong to frame these things as romantic and market them to young, impressionable readers in their teens who will then believe this is the kind of relationship they should seek out. It's one thing if you're an adult with critical thinking skills reading these kinds of books or watching these kinds of movies, but somebody who is young and impressionable and doesn't understand what healthy relationships look like, it really makes me afraid for them, and I don't want to see young people entering unhealthy relationships because media has taught them that this is what love is. And then sort of on a similar note, I have a trope that I'm calling I Can Fix Him, which is basically where one half of the main romantic pairing, usually the man, but not always, has been through a lot of trauma in their life that's caused them to be very reclusive or angry or caused them to act out in a way, and their love interest believes that through their love, they can cure this person, they can make them change. That is, again, just such a misguided idea. And I don't want young people to read books or watch movies and believe that's actually how that works, because trauma cannot be cured by love. It requires years and years of hard work to confront those emotions and learn to live with the pain of trauma. And also, if your character is maybe not traumatized, but just a bad person who is able to like completely change because of their love interest, that's also not realistic, because you shouldn't start a relationship with someone who has toxic qualities, believing that your love can make them a better person, because frequently that's not how real life works, and I don't want to see people entering toxic relationships because they believe that they can change someone. That's just not how relationships really work. Now at number 9, I don't know if this is necessarily a trope exactly, but it's something that I've noticed, and so I wanted to include it on this list. This is when one character really wants to get married and have kids, and the other character doesn't. In my opinion, once you introduce this storyline, there is no way to resolve it in a satisfying way. I believe in all instances I've seen this done, it is usually the man who really wants to get married and have kids, and the woman who is very independent and so she doesn't want to settle down, get married, and be a mother. I think when you use this, the couple is just kind of ruined forever, because there are 3 ways that you can resolve this storyline after you introduce it. 1, the couple can decide that they're not right for each other and break up. This is really disappointing, because if you're getting your audience invested in a couple and then saying there's absolutely no way the 2 of them can ever work, they just want different things and there's no compromise, that just doesn't feel good for you as the audience member. It just feels so bad, because the writer is telling you, oh my god, these 2, this is the couple you should be rooting for, and then just saying, ha 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 ha, psych, there's no way they can ever make each other happy. Like, okay, but then why did you play with my emotions like that and make me want these 2 to be together if you're saying there's absolutely no chance? The second way you could resolve the storyline is have the woman decide that actually she really does want to get married and have babies after all. Yes, many people think they don't want to have kids when they're young, and then when they're older they decide that they are ready for it. I know people who have had that experience. However, there are also many women who never want to be mothers, and that is totally okay. However, too often when you have a female character who says, I don't want to be a mother, she then ends up changing her mind, and I think that's just sending kind of a harmful message that really deep down all women want babies, when that's not the case. Some people really want to be mothers, some people don't, and some people shouldn't be mothers. It's not something that everyone should do. I just really think like there should be more characters in media who say, I never want to be a parent, I would not be a good parent, and that's seen as a valid choice, because that is okay. Not everybody has to have a child. And then the third way you can resolve this storyline after you introduce it is have the male character say, you know what, I've decided that I don't need to have kids. I just need to be with you. And that's all well and good, but I also feel like it's kind of unfair, because just as I said, it's okay to not want kids. It's also totally okay if that's something that's really important to you. And I don't think it's fair for like the writer to force the fictional character to give up a lifelong dream. Like, I just don't think that's fair, especially since so many fictional characters do not have loving and supportive family backgrounds. If this fictional man just really wants to have a family because he's never had a family in his entire life, I don't think it's fair for the writer to put him in the position where he has to give up that dream to be with his love interest. And I also think like a lot of times when people do this, they frame it as empowering, like, oh yeah, this is a feminist moment. He doesn't need kids, he just needs her love. But I don't think that's fair to ask him to do that. Like, if his dream is to become a dad, then he should get to be a dad. And yes, I understand that in real life people can change their mind. People's dreams can change. Maybe they think they'll never have kids and then they decide that they really want one. Maybe they decide, you know what, this is something that I can live without. But I just think like it's not really fair to put the fictional people in this situation. And I think once you introduce this hurdle in a fictional romantic relationship, there's no way that I personally, as a viewer, can be satisfied after that, because all of the possibilities how to resolve the storyline, I personally just don't like. And finally, you know, this had to be on the list. My least favorite romantic trope in fiction is cheating. And when I say cheating, I mean one character in a ship cheating on another for the sake of drama, you know, to get them to break up, do the on again, off again thing. But I also mean if the two of them are with rival love interests and they cheat on those rival love interests with each other. I hate both of these things because I just think cheating is a really horrible thing to do to someone. I think I'm a pretty understanding person, so I understand maybe you're in a relationship and it's not making you happy and you begin to feel yourself drawn to someone else. I can understand how that would happen. However, if it does, you need to be honest with your partner and break up with them before you can start something with another person. Cheating, in my opinion, is just never justified. If you find that you're not happy in a relationship and you want to be with someone else, you still should tell your partner the truth and break up with them instead of being a coward and disrespecting them by being with someone else. Like, it's just a disgusting thing to do to someone, and it just ruins the characters for me forever. How am I supposed to root for character A and character B to end up together at the end of the story if character B went and cheated on character A with someone else? And how am I supposed to root for character A and character B's relationship if the two of them cheat on different partners with each other? Because that just lowers my opinion of both of them. I think once this is introduced, it really changes the way that I view the characters, and I can never view them with the same respect that I did before. Just don't do this. I hate it. So everyone, those were my 10 most hated romantic tropes in fiction. Do let me know, do you also hate any of these tropes? Do you actually like any of these tropes and want to play devil's advocate? I would really like to hear from you in the comments. Let me know what romantic tropes you particularly love or loathe. I would really like to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Happy Valentine's Day, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you next time.